If you're looking to make a change to get improved performance, improve your sleep, and help you with your weight loss journey, try Optimum Day and Night. Make a change as soon as you can.
And these have been a real game changer in my health journey. Optimum Day helps your metabolism burn throughout the day, and Optimum Night helps you get a really good sleep throughout the night.
And here's some real-life proof on screen right now. Both Robbie and Michael Owen teamed up with Oxford Natural for their wellness journey, and you can see the results for yourself.
So if you want to start your health journey today, click the link in the description below. Get 70% off your first order with the code WATTV. Confirmed deal today. Luka Vuskovic signed, sealed and delivered. The 45 million deal plus potential add-ons to Brighton has been announced by Spurs and by Brighton. So let's go and see how it was announced.
It was always Brighton.
It was always Brighton,
Always.
was it, Luka? It was always
He
Brighton.
grew up always wanting to play, dreaming of playing for
Exactly.
Brighton.
His
Brighton
dream
is a unique city. A place that
was
I'm
to be on that
excited to
south
call
coast
home.
next to the seagulls.
After speaking to
And
Fabian,
I've said this before, it's a bit of an epidemic at the moment of players saying this was their only choice, this was the only club. We had it with Kudus, Tonali said it was always Spurs. Every player seems to say it these days.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
See
Well,
you soon.
is what it is. Shame to see him go, but
It
what
was
can you do? This is the way the cookie crumbles. He wasn't going to get the game time here. He's going to get the game time at Brighton. We've got a very good fee for him for someone that has never kicked the ball for Tottenham. So, yeah, look.
There he is talking to the Brighton fans.
Fans, I'm really looking forward to see you all and to make a lot of good memories together and see you soon.
Fantastic. I hope you're very happy there, Luka.
Yeah, I'm happy for him because I think it is a great move for him. Obviously, there's the official confirmation you can see on screen. It's one where I think when we first heard about it, we're like, yeah, never going to happen. We want 80 million, all this kind of stuff. But then the more you think about it, the more sense it started to make.
Yeah.
I think when it came to this kind of deal. And look, you always said you don't think we're ever going to see him in a Spurs shirt. And I don't think you ever thought he was going to end up at Brighton.
No.
But yeah, your instincts were spot on that one.
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I? So,
Remember the name, Luka Vuskovic.
well, if you remember the name, we'll get a nice hefty sell-on clause, and we'll also get a match clause as well in terms of if he does make it that big. So, like you said yesterday, we are invested in his future. So
Exactly.
let's see
So
how
we
he
will
gets
be
on there.
remembering the name, that's for sure.
Ben Jacobs said that before leaving Tottenham to go to Brighton, it was made clear to Vuskovic by Real Madrid, Barcelona, Inter Milan and Juventus that they're all tracking him with a view to joining them in the long run. Therefore, Brighton feel that they'll get way more than the original fee back eventually.
Yeah, I think we all know Vuskovic ain't there for the long term. I'm not saying he's going to leave after a year, although I wouldn't rule it out. But he's obviously using them as a stepping stone. No disrespect to Brighton, but he signed for them to play so he can move to that bigger club. There was obviously a lot of rumours this summer about big clubs, Barca, all this and stuff, but I always felt it's a bit too early. And I think Vuskovic himself, as I've always said, he's a very smart guy. He's always making good decisions for his own career, and this is another one. You have to say, like, going to a team like Brighton. I know they're a Premier League team, so it's not like you can't say I'm there in Europe. So is it a massive step down from Tottenham in terms of size of the club? Yes, but in terms of, he's going to be getting playing time under a manager who likes to play a certain brand of football that will improve him. He's going to improve the player. They're investing a lot in him. But as well, they've put all these clauses in, and I'm sure Brighton told him this was the view of I think they know their place when it comes to this deal. They know once a big team are convinced that he's going to be a starting centre-back for them, he'll move. He'll get the move and they'll get their fee, which is always Brighton's model. So it's the perfect move for him, really.
Yeah, and I wish him all the best. I really do. So we'll see, and it's going to be interesting because I've seen some posts from Spurs fans when he comes back to Tottenham, I want to see him get the Matty Cash treatment and all that, and I think it's just all so over the top, isn't it? For a guy that's never played for us, there's no reason for any animosity here.
Yeah, it just comes from, I think, the Look, it just comes from the fact that I think a lot of these fans were very invested in him, watching his loan spells. Ever since we signed him in 2015, this kid was being said to have been one of the biggest talents in Europe, and every step of the way he's proven what an amazing talent he is. Every loan spell he's gotten better and better, and he's been one of the outstanding players in the league. So the excitement was growing and growing, and it hit fever pitch this summer. But with him being at the World Cup and him as well being in the Bundesliga Team of the Year, and some of the goals he was scoring and some of the things he was doing out in the Bundesliga was amazing. So many fans, and for all those fans who invested and believed in him as Spurs fans, like we thought maybe that this season was going to be the payoff for that. He's finally going to come into the team, and we were going to have this generational centre back, playing for us, and we'll finally get to reap the benefits of all that talent we've been following for a few years. So the fact that it's culminated in a large sale rather than him being in the Tottenham team, I think it just frustrates a lot of fans, and it comes out in different kinds of ways. And obviously I've got no ill will for him, and I think at the end of the day, it's Spurs who've made this decision. We could have brought him back in if we wanted and told him he's going to play, but we decided to make the decision and sign Van Hecker instead, and we'll see down the line how good of a decision that was, and if we made the right call. But I personally can understand why we've made that call, but I can also understand fans' frustrations, like, this is such a generational talent, I wish he was at Tottenham rather than he's going to grow into that player at another club, and they're going to reap the benefits of him actually playing rather than just some money that we've got in. But at the end of the day, we've got a really good fee. We've probably signed a player who right now is better than him. And if we does go on to big and better things and big money sales, we will benefit from that as well. So, at the end of the day, whatever happens, we're going to benefit from it.
Yeah, look, it could go either one or two ways. Either he makes it big, as everyone thinks, and we're going to get a healthy sell-on fee, or able to bring him back, one of the two. Or he doesn't make it as big as some people are suggesting, and we've got a very good fee for someone that, we're not 100% certain on. Obviously, there's high hopes for him, but there's no certainty in football. You've still got to develop as a 19-year-old. So, look, as I said, we'll see what happens in the future. In terms of Vicario, or not directly linked to Vicario, but Aston Villa director Damian Vidangi says Martinez is going to stay at Aston Villa, and they have no intention of letting him leave this summer. The team needs his dedication and extensive experience. It is a very important element of our project for next season. So they're saying Martinez is staying put where he is. So what that means is that Juventus could very much go for Vicario now.
Well, I think for me, it's probably a negotiation tactic from him, because we know that last summer Martinez had a deal agreed with United, and United were the ones who pulled out of it, not Martinez, not Villa, sorry. And they went in the last minute, for some reason, they went for Lemons instead. So I think if the price is right, they will sell. So it depends whether Juve meet that price or not. He is at an age where, and Villa are in a position where, if a 30, well, how old is he, 33, 34? If you get a good offer for someone of that age, you have to obviously consider it, and you have to maybe look for a young keeper, and that's just going to be the reality. So obviously, from Villa's point of view, he is a very important player for them, and he's a big player for them. So their stance is going to be he ain't going. But if he wants to leave, which he's tried to leave now for a couple of years, and for one reason or another it hasn't happened, he's ended up staying. But fair play to him, he hasn't kicked up a fuss and let his standards drop. He's been still pretty good for his last couple of years. But he's been trying to leave for a couple of years now. We know last summer they did get a deal agreed United, so I wouldn't rule out just because he's saying that. But if it is true that they're gonna, if what he's saying, if you take his word for it, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Juve do with that information. Do they end up bidding higher? Bidding high for him and try and get the deal done, or do they say, you know what, he's going to be too expensive? They're adamant. Let's move on to Vicario or different, and it could benefit us.
Yeah. Again, watch this space. On Cuti Romero, a publication called El Nacional is saying that Hansi Flick has personally asked Barcelona to sign another centre-back before the transfer window closes. The German manager wants a more aggressive defender who is comfortable defending high up the pitch and capable of bringing his leadership to the back line. That request has led Barcelona back in for Tottenham captain Cuti Romero. And yeah, we've spoken about the Barcelona links, the Atletico links over the past weeks. I do think these Barcelona links do make sense with Romero's playing style.
I think it's going to be interesting because if Atletico get a big windfall for Alvarez and he ends up going, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with it, and would Romero be near the top of their list for that? We've seen Simeone's been at every World Cup game watching Romero. Romero's been having a pretty good World Cup, and he's an Argentinian legend. I'm sure Romero would love to play for him. If he has a conversation, I think he would find it hard to say no to Simeone. But then also when Barca comes knocking, that's also a different kind of knock, isn't it? So if there's I think obviously what Tottenham want is a bidding war between these two, drive the price up and try and get the best price. I wonder what he chooses if both of them are in for him. Obviously Barca are the bigger club, you've got more chance of winning things. But Atletico, they're a good club in themselves, and you've got Simeone at the helm. He might, a bit like Tonali with Zerbi, maybe he could have that rapport with Simeone, and it's going to be hard to say no to him, and maybe he could convince him. So I wouldn't rule that out at all. But obviously, it's about how much they bid. We're talking about 70, 80 million potentially. Obviously, we know Barca have made a bid, I think, for Alvarez, which hasn't gone through, but I think they do have money. They just signed Adeyemi for, I think, 20-odd million. They've signed Gordon for 70 million. So there's a bit of money sloshing around there at Barca. Depends who just puts the bigger offer in. I think that's where Tottenham are going to look at it, but I wonder where Romero would favour.
I think he would favour Barcelona. I think they're the bigger club fighting for bigger things. Obviously, they're both fighting for the same things, but I think Barcelona are obviously more likely to win these competitions. I think they're the La Liga champions, aren't they, Barcelona?
Yeah.
Last couple of years. Obviously, Jose Mourinho has gone back to Real Madrid now, and I think that'll be one hell of a battle. Barcelona under Hansi Flick and Jose Mourinho with Real Madrid. It's like the conflicting styles butting heads once again. Not quite Pep Guardiola, but Hansi Flick obviously got his own style of play. So, yeah, I think Romero would favour a move to Barcelona over Atletico Madrid. Although he won't. I don't think it'll be a flat-out no to Atletico. He'll definitely listen to what they want to hear, what they want to say. But I just think going to Barcelona, or the lure of Barcelona, will be a bit too much to turn down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wonder if tactically he's more suited to. Is he more suited to a Barca where he's going to be basically on his, similar to what we were doing under Ange? Like he's going to be defending in a 2 a lot of the time. There's going to be a lot of counter attacks, but maybe he can deal with that. But Atletico is a bit different. Like they defend in a different way. They're not. I wouldn't say they're a defensive team, but when they do defend, they defend with aggression, and they do defend proactively, but they defend as a team. Whereas Barca, it seems as though they just control the game and just try and thwart counter attacks. And I wonder what Romero would rather what side would rather be. And I think he can do both, to be honest. And I think I can see both teams really being interested in him. But it's a conversation we've had. Who's going to put up the fee? Will either of them put up the fee? We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, look, if Atletico do get that massive money in for Alvarez, whether it be from Barcelona or from Arsenal, then obviously they got the money there that they could give us a handsome fee. And Barcelona seem to be spending a lot of money this summer, so it could possibly come from either of them, to be honest. I wouldn't rule either of these teams out. So we'll see what happens with that one. Let's talk about Jed Spence again. Sorry, not Jed Spence. Let's talk about Lucas Bergvall. There's been another name linked with Lucas Bergvall, and that is Aston Villa. Not the most reliable source, but I can actually see it being a potential from Team Talk saying Villa are stepping up their interest in Lucas Bergvall as they prepare for Yuri Tielemans to move to Manchester United. The Tottenham midfielder is open to leaving North London and would welcome a switch to Villa Park. I think this would be a great move for him, even better than Nottingham Forest, even though we know that Nottingham Forest want him. And have made him maybe as their number one target after Elliot Anderson has left. But I see him coming on leaps and bounds under Unai Emery in that middle of the park.
Do you think Spurs care who they sell to? It's just more whoever is the highest bidder? Because
I don't think they
Villa, obviously in Champions League, we've obviously spoke about maybe it's going to be tough for them to replicate it. But if we're giving them good options like Bergvall, if they've identified him, are we giving a potential challenger for European spot next season, a player which can benefit them? Is that a problem?
I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it doesn't
make
make
rivals.
Yeah, we are, but I don't really care about that. Like, yeah, fine, they can have he goes to the highest bidder, in my opinion. We concentrate on ourselves, and if we get the targets that we want in, we'll be better than Villa. With Roberto De Zerbi at the helm, I don't think we should worry too much about what other teams are doing. You've seen it in the past with the likes of, Arsenal and Chelsea doing business together, Man City and Chelsea. All these teams, they do business together. They don't worry about what each other are doing. They worry about themselves. So that's kind of where I'm at. Concentrate on yourself, get the best deal you can for the club, and you move on.
I think if I've got a preference, I'd prefer to sell to Forest than I would to Villa, just because Forest are going to be less likely to challenge us next season than Aston Villa will. So if push comes to shove and we're in a battle for Europe at the back end of the season and Bergvall's putting in great performances for him, you're going to think, wish we didn't sell him that now. But obviously, I understand what you're saying, and if the bid from Villa is that much better, then yeah, just sell him to Villa. I'll get as much money as possible. But if I had a preference, I'd rather sell to Forest.
Yeah, it's fine. But again, highest bidder should always win, in my opinion, unless it's coming from Arsenal. So I think, look, the reality is we're selling him because he's not good enough to be in our team right now. So if he's starting for Aston Villa, then automatically we've got better players than them. So I'm not bothered about it.
Yes and no, because we know how good. We know Bergvall has got good potential. So right now, obviously, he's not good enough to get in our team, and we don't have time to wait. But if they're going to give him game time and let him develop in his proper position, we know what a good talent he could turn out to be, and he could turn out to be a top talent, a top player.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I'd rather Forest were the ones benefiting from it hopefully lower down in the table than Aston Villa, who would be challenging potentially with us next season. But I agree, it's a brilliant move for him, and I think replacing Tielemans with Bergvall makes a lot of sense, or at least getting someone like that in to kind of try help fill the void. I do wonder how much, if they're going to be willing to go as high as a Forest, who I think probably have maybe a bit more money than them. They've got obviously 35 million for Tielemans. Are they willing to go a lot higher than that to get Bergvall through the door when they've just sold their best midfielder for, imagine we're demanding 50 million for Bergvall and their best midfielder went for 35, and how frustrating that would be. So
just put down 50 million and Morgan Rogers on the table, and Bob's your uncle, mate. Use it as a sweetener for Morgan Rogers. That's what I would do. Give them 50 or 60 million plus Bergvall, and we'll say Morgan Rogers, please.
I wouldn't say no.
Exactly.
I would not say no. Yeah, I would try to do that, but I think obviously that adds another headache for Villa if they do that. I think it would have to be more than 50 million.
You think about it, they want 130 million for Rogers. We want between 50 and 60 million or something like that for Bergvall. So yeah, give him 70 million and Lucas Bergvall. Something like that. Like even that, I think that's a great deal. 70 million plus Lucas Bergvall for Rogers. I think that's a very good deal for both parties.
It's a good deal for us.
And it's a good deal for them as well if they know he's leaving anyway this summer and someone's going to stump up the cash. Is that not a good deal?
Would you rather the 130 million or would you rather 70 plus Bergvall?
If I'm Villa, if it means I'm not going to get Bergvall apart from that, I'll probably take Bergvall because I think he can be a very good player for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad deal. It's a lot of money. But it depends how much you value Bergvall at. It might have to be 80 million plus Bergvall.
Yeah, so if it is 70, we're saying Bergvall's going to cost 60. Even if it's 80, I'll do it still. 80 million plus Lucas Bergvall for Morgan Rogers, I'll do either or.
Put it on the table to see what they say. See what they say. Make them think a bit. I think I'm sure that kind of offer would make them at least pause for a bit and consider it way up. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Even if they want to do it in separate deals for a PSR thing, like you go give them 130 million, they give us 50 or 60 million. I would more than happy do that deal. Let's talk about Jed Spence then, because another name has been brought to the hat, pulled out the hat for Jed Spence. And Team Talk again saying that Liverpool are showing an interest in Jed Spence for this summer transfer window. Spence have already been informed by the club he's not part of De Zerbi's long-term plans, opening the door to him to find a new club for the transfer window. Liverpool face competition from a number of clubs, with Inter Milan the latest team to make contact for the defender. Does Liverpool actually make sense for Jed Spence? I think he might see a lot of game time if he was to join Liverpool.
Yeah, because Frimpong, I think, is a very different kind of fullback. He's not really a fullback, is he? He's more of a wing-back winger than he is a fullback, Frimpong. So they've kind of been struggling in that position. Obviously, Trent's gone. They haven't really had a natural replacement. They've been playing Joe Gomez there, Connor Bradley. They've been playing there. But I think Jed Spence would see a lot of time because Robertson's gone as well. So they need also cover off the left-hand side. Obviously, they got Kirkes, but the backup is Tsimikas, who's not really highly thought of there. So, yeah, 100%. I think Liverpool could do with him, and I think they could do with someone who's a bit more defensively solid and, you know, not as open at the back as they have been last season.
Think he suits Iraola?
I think he could do. Because Iraola's dealt with not a worse fullbacks than Jed Spence. He's had Adam Smith there sometimes. Obviously, they had Jimenez there last season. They had Kirkes. They had who else? They have Truffet, who are very different kind of fullbacks to Spence. But I think he could make it work with Spence, 100%. I think that could be a good move. I think, and also maybe we can get a higher price if Liverpool come in for him.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at those three clubs. Everton only want to go to 25. Inter Milan historically don't do big deals. Liverpool, you know, I think if Liverpool are in for him and really want him, I think we can get 40 or north of 40 million for him.
Yeah, and I think that would be a good deal. Good deal for them. Decent deal for us if we can then go and get Nico Williams and for a similar or cheaper price. And then I think that works out for everyone. But a lot of people are not happy with the thought of losing Jed Spence.
Yeah, and I understand it because I think you've got a really good dynamic there on the right-hand side with Pedro Porro and Jed Spence battling out each other next season. And I was very happy with the thought of that. But if Jed Spence is not the type of player and the right profile that De Zerbi wants, then we should get the right profile that De Zerbi wants. So I'm all for backing De Zerbi, and I think this is what backing De Zerbi looks like.
Yeah. When you give him the keys, then don't be surprised when he uses them.
Exactly. In terms of Archie Gray, we heard yesterday from Himothy saying that De Zerbi does not rate Archie Gray. However, SZY saying there is not a single person within Tottenham Hotspur, and that includes the manager, that doesn't rate Archie Gray. And Himothy has hit back and said, of course, that will be the narrative coming out the club because the club don't want to sell him. So, of course, everyone inside the club is going to say that De Zerbi rates him.
Who do you believe? I don't know. I find it's just... What does he mean by not rating him?
By the way, it is quite interesting, though, because in that tweet from Himothy, it said Gray and Tell, but SNY said nothing on Tell, only Gray.
So maybe there's some truth to it. I just find it hard to believe that he thinks that... What does he mean? I guess we use these terms that he doesn't rate. What does he actually mean? What, he thinks he's rubbish? He thinks he's bad? He thinks he's not good enough for the first team? He thinks he's not good enough for the squad? He thinks he's not good enough to start? What does he mean when he says he doesn't rate Gray? He wants him sold? Is that what he means? It's hard to know what to think because we say these things, he doesn't rate Gray. I just don't believe that a talent like Gray, you see him and you think, nah, he's rubbish. I don't rate him. I want him gone. We shouldn't have him in the squad. Is that what he thinks? Is that what he really thinks? I don't know if I actually believe that. Does he believe that Gray isn't good enough yet to start ahead of or to start in our midfield when you've got other midfielders in our squad right now? Can I believe that? Yeah, I can believe that. So it just I don't know. It depends what he means.
Maybe he just means he doesn't rate him to make an immediate impact next season to the level that he wants. I think, I do think he would rate him in terms of his talent because he's got a lot of talent, Archie Gray. So maybe it's just a case of he doesn't think that he's the right guy to make the impact that he wants for next season.
So what we would,
and I think that's probably similar for Bergvall, probably similar for Vuskovic.
So he'd want them sold? Want him sold? Sorry, is that what we think he means?
Well, apparently we're not going to look to sell him this summer.
Yeah, because maybe the club have kind of put their foot down, but we know that Roberto is getting a lot of power. So if he wants him sold, he'll have him sold.
Yeah.
So obviously it looks like we're doing that with Bergvall and Vuskovic. Maybe there is a limit to the club's.
Well, maybe De Zerbi's looked at it saying there's so many kids in this squad, and if you have one or two, it's okay, but not to the extent that we had it before. So a lot of them will have to go.
I can't see him wanting to keep someone around he doesn't rate.
I don't think it's that he doesn't rate him. I just don't think he rates him to play as much as he has been playing, pretty much.
That's fair, because he's definitely played a lot over the last couple seasons, and probably he's played more than he should have. We can all agree on that. So I don't know what we can take away from this, because when you say he doesn't rate him, that implies he wants him sold. He doesn't think he's good. But do we think he wants him sold? Do we think he wants to get Gray out of the club? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that report. He doesn't rate Gray, and obviously everyone in the club, SWI is saying does rate Gray. He says including the manager. I think we think Gray is a great talent. We think he's a good player. There's a lot still more for him to grow into and do. 100%, he's nowhere near one of the top midfielders in the league or anything like that. We know that. He's kind of like an average midfielder right now. So we needed better.
Maybe he's saying he doesn't rate him compared to the midfielders that we have at the club. You're looking at Mateus Fernandes, Sandro Tonali, Rodrigo Bentancur. Like Gray is some way behind these guys.
Yeah, of course.
Know what I mean? So maybe it's a comparison to who we have at the club.
Okay. I mean, I just don't know what to learn from him saying he doesn't rate Gray. What if that's the case, but he still wants to keep him? Well, what's the point of putting that out there? What do we learn from that? I don't know. Maybe he'll sell him in the future, unless Himothy means he doesn't rate him, so he wants him gone. If that's what he means, then that's quite relevant. But if that's not what he means,
I don't think we're going to sell him this summer.
Yeah, but the question is, does De Zerbi want to sell him?
I don't think so. I think he'll keep him around. I can't see De Zerbi.
No, but is that against his wishes, or is that a club decision, or is that De Zerbi saying, I want to keep Gray around?
I think everything will be a collaborative decision. I don't think one thing is either De Zerbi and the club. I think everything's going to be decided together.
But it seems that De Zerbi has a lot of control.
He does have a lot of control, but it's still a collaborative effort.
I just read that De Zerbi, one of the reasons Kel didn't want to come is because De Zerbi wants all the control, which apparently he does at the moment, which it seems he does anyway, with all the decisions that are being made. So I don't know. I just obviously I want him to stay. I want Bergvall to stay as well. I wanted Vuskovic. I wanted all of them to stay. I don't think they're going because we don't rate them. They're going because they want to play, and we can't offer them those chances right now because we need to accelerate our team and start having ready-made players in the team.
Yeah, well, that's just a nice way of saying we don't rate you to make a big impact for next season.
No, it's just us saying you're young, so there's a pecking order here.
Yeah, and you're not rated to start the season or to be a starter for us.
Yeah, but not rated as a player. That's a different thing.
I think exactly. It depends how you read that line.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't read it as De Zerbi thinks they're rubbish players. I don't read it like that. I just read it saying that De Zerbi thinks they're not ready yet, which they're not.
Okay, but then that's nothing new.
No, it's nothing new. But this is what the report is.
But then but SZY saying he is rated, so is SZY saying he does rate him to start?
I think SZY is getting maybe more information from the club, and that's what the club have to say if he's not going to be sold.
Right, but you're saying they mean two different... When SZY says he is rated and Himothy says he isn't, they mean two different things?
Potentially. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, fair enough.
Who's next? I always butcher this guy's name. Always butcher this guy's name, but you can see it on screen.
How often are you saying his name?
Quite a few times during this World Cup, to be fair. Andreas Schjelderup. There's a report here from the Portuguese press, Bola, saying that Liverpool, Chelsea and Tottenham all keeping a close eye on the Benfica winger. 22-year-old impressed with Norway at the World Cup and is open to a new challenge this summer. Benfica are expected to demand at least 40 million euros. He's got 2 years left in his deal. I've been super impressed with him at this World Cup. He even kind of took Antonio Nusa's spot out on the left-hand side for the England game, came on against Brazil, made a massive impact. He looks like a real talent. And, you know, he came out of the Norwegian league with a big reputation. He's gone to Benfica, and he's carrying on this upward trajectory. I think he's a top talent, this guy.
Apparently it's Schjelderup.
Schjelderup. There you go.
I mean, he definitely looked decent against England.
Definitely meant that goal, by the way.
Definitely, yeah, of course he meant that goal. Obviously, yeah. No wonder we're after him. Do you reckon if he didn't score that goal, we'd be after him?
No chance.
Yeah, he seems to be a winger who plays kind of left-footed on the left-hand side. He fancies his strong side. One of those kind of old-school wingers.
A throwback, yeah.
Yeah, that's what he seems when I'm watching him play. He's had decent season at Benfica last season as well. I think the season before that in the Turkish league, was it?
No, he was in the Norwegian.
Was it Norwegian? He had scored a lot of goals in that league. Was it 18 goals?
No, he scored 9 goals in his last season and 10 goals in his season before that.
Maybe it was read, because I read he scored 18. Maybe it wasn't one season. Maybe that was his whole career in the Norwegian league. But I don't think we should be signing him based on what I've seen. He doesn't seem to be that great. He seems decent. I don't know. He doesn't seem special to me. But he did look decent at the World Cup. I think a lot of it is World Cup hype.
I'm not sure. Look, I don't think we should be signing him as our starting winger. But a player, look, I think we should go for other targets 100% before him. You know, I'd go for Leao, Savinho, these kind of guys. But there's no getting away from he's a very good talent, and he's taken to the Portuguese league, kind of moving from Norway to Portugal. He's made that step up quite well, and at the World Cup, the biggest stage of it all, 2 assists against Brazil, and he looked dynamite in that game when he came on, and he gave England problems down that left-hand side as well. So I wouldn't be totally against it, but he wouldn't be my first option.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he seems like just a very old school winger. He seems like a decent player. I didn't look him like he's like some guy like we need in our team, but he looked like a decent player. Yeah.
And last but not least, Harry Kane.
Harry Kane, the story that never goes away.
And it won't go away till he's home. Team Talk says that Tottenham are keeping tabs on Harry Kane's situation at Bayern Munich as they explore a future return for the striker. Tottenham remain closely informed on developments on their former captain and could move if an opportunity arises or emerges. We know that we've got a buyback clause around 75 million. We know he's got 1 year left in his contract. That hasn't been signed yet. There's been rumours that he is going to sign it, rumours that he's not going to sign it.
Barca rumours.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot to be decided with Harry Kane once the World Cup's finished. So it'll be interesting to see how it all develops. If England do win the World Cup, is there a possibility that he could come back this summer? I kind of find that hard to believe.
You never know. You never know where his head's at. I think he'll probably, what would happen is he'll probably see out his contract at Bayern. But then again, knowing Bayern, if he's not going to sign, they might want to sell. They might want that money. So maybe he signs another year extension, and then next year, maybe he looks to leave. I don't think he's going to retire at Bayern. I do think he will leave at some point. When that's going to be, I don't know. And I do think his idea is to come back to the Prem. Especially if he was to win the World Cup, having the English, captain, talisman, everyone obviously loves him already, but him coming back to England would be a massive story. And if we're in a position to have such a talent like Harry Kane, we're in Champions League football, we're going places, then I think we're the best place for him, because he knows he'll be loved here. He knows if we're playing good football, if we've got De Zerbi, gets us competing, then there's no reason for him not to come back. He might want to try something new like Man United or City or something like that, but I don't know if City will go for him if they've still got Haaland. Man United, are they going to spend big money? We're the ones who would be so desperate to get him back in our team. Like, we would probably spend the big money it would take to get him back, even whatever age he's at. So if he wins the World Cup, could he come back this summer? I don't think so. I think he's going to be at Bayern next season, whatever happens. I think he'll sign a 1 year extension, and then he'll make the decision next season. But I guess there's a small chance, but I don't think he'll be Tottenham. I don't think he'll come to Tottenham this summer. I find that hard to believe.
A player of Harry Kane's quality, you're talking about the best number 9 in world football at this time. He cannot spend a year out of the Champions League at his age. He just can't. So I think what he does is, I agree with you, he signs a 1-year extension, gives Bayern 1 more year, another crack at the Champions League with Bayern Munich, and then next summer, I think he'll leave. Whether that's to Tottenham or not, I don't know, but I do think he's going to spend 1 more year at Bayern Munich, and I think that'll probably be that.
I think, though, if Barca were a serious option this year, I think he would do it. I think he would take. I think he's the kind of guy who wants these kind of new opportunities as well. And if he can spend a couple of years at Barca, like, he would love that opportunity. I think to play La Liga and then come back to England. I think he would love that.
How long is he going to spend at Barca though? Because you're saying he's going to move when he's 33. Another 2 years at.
I think he's going to be playing.
35.
He's going to be playing. I think the way he takes care of himself, he can be going to his late 30s, still banging in the goals.
Could, but the Premier League is a different beast, and at 35, it's going to be hard to come in at 35 and break that record.
I don't know. With Haaland around, I don't know if he's that bothered about the record. I think, in theory, he would like to hold it at some point, and the only way to do that is if he's to come now, really, or the next year. But I think if he waits any longer, I don't think he's going to care about the record, because I think Haaland's going to break it, and he's younger than him anyway. So it's going to be, what can he do about it at that point? The reality is, if you're Harry Kane, what matters more? A record that can always change, or trophies that can never be taken away from you? And that's probably how he looks at it.
Yeah, probably trophies, but it's still. You never know. Haaland could leave in a year's time against Man City and go to someone like Real Madrid or go somewhere. You never know what's going to happen. So if he does hold it, let's say in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, whatever it may be, and Haaland ended up leaving, then all of a sudden he's got that record for a very long time. I still think it's a big thing for Kane to look back on his career and say, most goals for England, most caps for England, most goals in the Premier League, World Cup. You know what I mean? Like, those accolades mean a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I don't disagree that he would love to be record Premier League goal setter. I'm just saying I think he values trophies over it. If he can, he's going to want to maximise his opportunities to win Champions League, Premier League or La Liga or whatever, league titles. And as I say, what if Haaland doesn't leave? Then all of a sudden that record won't stand potentially, and he would have come back if Tottenham aren't, or whoever. If he comes back to the Premier League just for that record, not to win trophies, he might end up regretting that.
He's not going to come just for the record. He'll come to win trophies.
My point. He'll come back only if we're in a position to win trophies. Obviously, he'll like the record as a bonus, but if we only come back to Tottenham if we're in a position where we can compete for big trophies. Yeah,
100%. It could even be a situation where Haaland goes and leaves next summer and they sign Kane as the replacement.
And could happen. That could easily happen.
So I'm not saying if he comes back to the Premier League, he's definitely joining Tottenham. But I do think next summer could be the year Kane returns to the Premier League.
As someone in the comments said as well, Zlatan was in the Prem at 35 and he was smashing it. Ronaldo as well at 37. He scored 17 goals in the Premier League. So it can be done. And I think Kane's exactly the kind of character that can do it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Not wrong at all. So, I mean, I don't want anything more but for Kane to come back to Tottenham.
Oh.
If Kane was to come back to Tottenham with the way Spurs are moving, then that makes us confirmed title challengers. I swear.
That would be insane if Kane ever came. Yeah, ever, at any point in his career, if he came back to Tottenham, it would just be such a dream. It will be unbelievable. I think right now it's a bit of a pipe dream, but let's see maybe in a year's time. Or let's see if they win the World Cup, where his head's at. You never know. Maybe he feels like if I win the World Cup, I've achieved that massive trophy that, that can't really be eclipsed, and now it's about other things rather than winning Bundesliga titles. Maybe
what we
things
need
come back
is for him to win the World Cup this summer, win the Champions League next summer, and then there really is nothing left for him to win.
Yeah.
And then, surely...
Back to Tottenham. Come back home.
And not only that, beat Arsenal in the Champions League final or something. That would be just sweet. And he scored the winner. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today.